Hello, and welcome to the Amy Edwards Show. I'm your host, Amy Edwards. I just lit my Palo Santo. Actually, I lit it like a minute ago. I'm sitting here in a little puff of smoke. I wonder if I'm ever going to set the smoke detector off in here. I hope I don't. It's possible though, because I like to use the Palo Santo, the smell of it, to kind of cue me to slow down. That is one of my little tricks that I do. And that's partly why I do it in here, to stay intentional and to get rechecked in with my intentions, with my alignment. So anyway, I just want to offer that to you. Sometimes just lighting a little bit of Palo Santo, a little bit of sage, something like that can just provide you with a cue in your mind to just slow down a little bit, to breathe. I like something that smells good like this to just remind me to breathe. Maybe it's spraying like some rose water or something. I don't know, whatever it is. Connecting you to your breath is a way to really slow down and then get intentional. So what are we intentional about today? Sharing some good shit for our lives, to uplevel our lives. So which is why we're here. We are here to transform our lives, to make our lives rock in the most efficient manner possible through habits, better mindset, and what else? I don't know. Habits and what we tell ourselves. So we have an affirmation at the end as well. So I am thrilled that you're here. I like to do some business up top. That means letting you know about my newsletter. If you haven't signed up, you can go to amyedwards.com, or my link tree on my Instagram or my TikTok it's right there at the top. So you can sign up for the newsletter. It comes out Mondays and Thursdays. And I talk about 3 things I've learned in the Monday one. And I keep it very brief just to get your head aligned, focused, and keep you shining your brightest for the week ahead, to keep us intentional, to keep us in our best space, right? Even when we feel like we're not, we can come back to it. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Also business, if you can leave a review on Apple Podcasts in particular, I'd be ever so grateful, because that is where we're working to build up reviews for this show to keep bringing you awesome stuff. All right. So I'm excited to get to today's episode. Today, we are talking about realigning tips. We are talking about contrast, and we are talking about something maybe not for children. So consider yourself warned, because we are going to have a small segment on sex today. Small, but important. So let's get to today's episode. Relighting my Palo Santo. That's how much I like it. I mean, I could just sit in this cloud of smoke. Well, you can't really see it, I guess, on camera, but I could just sit in this cloud of smoke for all day. I don't care. It smells so good. I'm addicted. So we're going to talk about realigning. So I heard something along the lines of this quote the other day, and I want to see how you feel about it. They said, I believe it might have been Abraham Hicks, something like that. They said something like, we say it's about the journey, but really we make it about what we produce along the journey, about our outcome. And I was like, oh shit, that hits. Because how much do I talk about? It's about the journey. It's about the journey. It's about the journey. Always, right? I'm ad nauseum. And so anyway, it made me check in with myself. And I'm like, because I was having a moment where I was just feeling frustrated. I was feeling like the last, I would say, few days, like I kind of down. I drank some alcohol, and that could be part of it, because I've noticed I'll get down days after I've drank alcohol. So let me just throw that in there for your own observance. If you drink alcohol, pay attention. Some people it doesn't happen to. I've talked to people, but some people have started to notice that. And I know there's a trend away from alcohol right now and into sober bars, sober cocktails, alcohol-free cocktails, alcohol-free liquors, which is really cool. And so anyway, I really like that, because then you can have a drink. But I went ahead and drank, and I always pay a price. Anyway, was it that or not? I don't know. Whatever the case, I had a moment in time, actually a long ass moment. And I was just feeling kind of stuck, I was feeling kind of frustrated with, how my show's going, how my professional life is going, like the things that I really care about. It's feeling a little like, I'm ready for growth. I'm ready for the next phase. I'm ready for what's to come. I'm ready for the next chapter, instead of being like, this is part of it. And so when I heard that quote, I was like, oh shit, you know what? Because I was saying things like, I want to connect with people. I want to make a difference in the world. But instead, it is about the journey. And when we look away at the products of our labors, or the things we are producing that are outside ourselves, essentially, when we look away, we're looking away from the journey. We're looking away from the present moment. We're looking away from our own experience right now. So how do we truly come back to that? How do we love it all? Even the shit, even the moments of frustration, appreciate them as part of our humanity. How do we love it all? That's mastery. Honestly, that's mastery. That's where it lies. Getting to that point. So when this happens and you, like me, fall out of alignment, which that's what that is, when we're focused on all the outcome, all the end goals, all the sometimes things, right? It's about thinking we'll be happy when we get to that, rather than happy in the present, aligned with our vision, aligned with our highest self in the present moment, and understanding this is all part of it. So what did I do? That's what we're getting to. One of the things that we talk about on this show, again, ad nauseum, is habits. And the point of building these habits is to have them to fall back on when you fall out of alignment, and to have some things in place that you can go, all right, I know I feel better when I do that. And a lot of times they're hard, like maybe getting your ass to the gym, or maybe, I don't know, just even sometimes getting up and going for a walk, or being in nature and something like that, or being with friends. Those can all feel like too much sometimes. So even having really easy habits and practices in place that you can do is what it's all about, and can get you just back on track just enough to at least have some awareness and perspective, and to at least bring you back to the present, bring you back to something good going on in your head. So that's what I did. I leaned on the easiest practice I really could, and that is gratitude and writing it down, which is pretty easy to do. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on a napkin at the restaurant that you're at, as long as you have a pen, right? So for me, that was gratitude writing. And I can do that with hardly any effort. I have a specific notebook, but even if I was somewhere else, whatever, I can write it down on my phone. And just writing down 5 things that you're grateful for. And sometimes it's a stretch. Sometimes it's something like, I'm grateful, I don't know, that I didn't break my toe when I stubbed it the other day. That's true, actually. I am. It hurts. But, it can just be very simple things. I'm grateful that I woke up not in pain today. I'm grateful that I got to laugh with my daughter. I'm grateful that she's feeling good. It can be very simple, but it's going to bring you back into the mindset that can serve you for your highest good, for your best self. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but a lot of times I sure wish someone could do it for me. And I get pissed off that no one can do it for me, that I have to do it. It's like, fuck, again, I'm the one that has to do it. I have to do it for me. Yeah, we have to do it for ourselves. It sucks. I was just wishing, like, throw me a bone, God, do anything. And then you think of gratitude. Well, guess what? That is your bone that's being thrown to you. It is something that's being thrown to you. You're like, okay, no, I want something more tangible. I want something like, I want it this way. Again, that's that unrest that comes to us. That's that focus outside the journey. Nope. So just come back to it. Find your gratitude space. It's the very probably simplest practice I can think of that can get you back into some kind of alignment. So that is a tip for that. So this leads me to my second point today, which is what we're going to talk about next, and that's contrast. Have you considered vaginal rejuvenation? You might have thought about it and wondered about it. I'm here to tell you at least one really great non-invasive option offered from Saving Face right here in Austin, Texas. So what they're offering is called FemTouch. FemTouch from Luminous is an outpatient too. It took like 15 minutes and does not hurt at all. Non-invasive and non-hormonal treatment for improved vaginal health, restoring patient confidence and well-being. And yes, I have had one treatment of it. I'm doing a series of 3, and I've had 2 kids. I am turning 50 this year. So as we've spoken about in these episodes, taking care of ourselves means every part of ourselves. And so many times, especially as women, men do too, though, we will neglect that part of ourselves. And so you don't have to. There are options. So Saving Faces is offering a discount too for listeners of this show. You can use the code ILOVEME, all caps, one word, and you can get a discount and you can find out more. You could even just go in and talk to them as well. They're so kind. It's a lovely environment, and they'll let you know about the safety of this and that it can improve everything down there. It can improve your sexual experience. And I am talking about sex in this one. And really, I feel like maybe it is giving me more sensation. And that is a good thing, right? It is also providing more lubrication. It can tighten things up after childbirth, which we all know that can be a thing for sure. And so anyway, the fact that it is non-surgical, laser, fast, doesn't hurt, it's effective, it's cutting edge, and it can rejuvenate your vaginal tissues and restore youthful tightness and sensation. So anyway, if this is something that even you're curious about, I would recommend looking into it. Again, it's called FemTouch, and that's with Saving Face Austin, and the code is ILOVEME. And I will be reporting back as I continue to get these procedures and the next 2 and what happens with it. Contrast. Are you experiencing contrast? So what that means is, are you experiencing things you don't want, essentially? And you're like, oh yeah, that sucks. I don't want to go through this. That's good, actually. Because contrast is there to remind all the shit that we don't want when we experience it. It's there to remind us what we do want and to line us up to that. So when we are experiencing contrast, which I totally was, right? When we experience contrast, or maybe still am in certain ways, it's great. It is great. We can welcome that contrast. It can give us a vehicle to say, okay, this is great because now I know exactly I don't want that. The trick is not continuing to dwell on what we don't want. The trick is dwelling on what we do want and then speaking about it in a way that it will come perhaps easy and not in a difficult way, right? I learned a lot about relationships and what I didn't want. And I learned what I did want. And I said, let's take, for instance, off the top of my head, I wanted a sober partner. Now I didn't get specific about how that should come about. And it has come about, but only after a year of relapses and, treatment and recovery. And so I got what I wanted. It just took a lot more contrast for me to say, okay, let's get this into alignment. And then it did. So sometimes we're going to continue to experience that contrast, but stay aligned with what you do want. Don't spend time saying, I don't want somebody who's fucked up, right? Or high or whatever slang term you want to use for that. Because the universe just hears, oh, what? Somebody fucked up, it hears those words and specifically, and then where are you, right? So use the contrast to say, no, I want someone aligned with me. I want someone experiencing sobriety in a very healthy way from the get-go. Tack on whatever you want on there. It's like our vision board. Tack it on however you want. Make the sentence longer. Make it, massage it till it works for you. And I have come to wonder if this if all of this contrast and realigning is a lot like the self-love practice, where we have to do it for ourselves in order to actually see it on the outside. So you're going to have times where you don't see it on the outside, obviously. I just posted something on my Instagram that said you have to believe it to see it. So and how I feel about the word believe. I'm not a fan. So let's say, even though I posted it, no, let's say no instead of believe. You have to know it to see it. So know the good, know the positive rather than the contrast. You already experienced the contrast. You got that down. That's what you don't want. I heard another comparison of life, and they said life is like a giant kitchen with all the ingredients. It was an analogy about a pie, actually. And here we are at hot pie. And that you can put anything you want into your pie of life. There is an infinite number of ingredients. You want to put anger in? Do you want to put, anything, substances, whatever it is. In this giant kitchen, all those ingredients aren't going away. They're all always options. They are the contrast. And instead, you can choose other things to put into your pie. Love, compassion, fun, play, joy. Doesn't mean that the other things aren't there. It just means that we know the contrast and we're choosing what we're choosing to go into our own pie. So what are you making yours with? What ingredients? And appreciate that contrast because it's actually really beneficial to us. Okay. Lastly, today, I want to talk about sex. So if you're listening with kids, I wouldn't recommend it right now. I wanted to talk specifically, we've been talking in past episodes, like with Alexa Bowditch, who is that sex chick. In particular, her I'm thinking of because she said sexual development is personal development. And as we've explored sex with Christopher Brown, with Kimi Inch, and Casey Neal, those have been excellent episodes because they really push us in vulnerable ways. And that's one of the things about sexuality. Anytime we're talking about it or anytime we're exploring even in it, it pushes us. It pushes us to get in touch with whatever's actually going on with us outside of our head, any place we're feeling inadequate. All these things can come out. And I want to talk about it too, because I am working on being really open and honest about it, because I think I would be doing a disservice here if I didn't speak about it, because it's a part of who I am and it's a part of my own growth and my own development. And so I've been thinking specifically about oral sex lately and our minds and how our minds get in the way. And mine has my whole life since I've been sexually active. And I have had trouble getting out of my head. Maybe you're one of these people that doesn't. And you know what? Congrats. That is awesome. But I am this like woman that you hear about that like has all these crazy thoughts pop in my head. And especially during oral sex, because I think that's such a vulnerable spot. And it's very hard for me to get out of my head. Not only will I think about my to-do list or, is the dog barking? What's going on? Or what's going on around the house? Or, whatever's happening outside of me. I will also think about my own body. I will think about my own worthiness. Am I taking too long? Is this person bored? There's a whole litany of things that can come up in my mind. And so maybe that resonates with you. If it does, let's talk about getting out of our head. And I've read practices around this, like with breath work, but I am getting better at getting out of my head. And so I wanted to share one of the practices that has helped me. And I have talked about this in the past, but I guess I've just noticed it really paying off, so to speak, or really in practice with a partner and during oral sex. And so, and just in the last few days. And so I wanted to speak about it in case this is something that comes up for you. And so if it is, I've read about breath work, and that can be certainly beneficial. But I think your own self-pleasure practice, finding some time for that and not using anything motorized. I'm talking to women here, mostly. Guys have some motorized things too. But I'm talking mostly women here. So using something that does not require batteries is good. Your hand is great. Great choice. And just tuning in to your own body and how something feels. And something about that particular practice gets me really out of my head. And it gets you tuned into your body. So that's what they're trying to do with breath work when that's recommended. So yes, getting in touch with your breath is good, but really, I tried to get in touch with any sensation I'm feeling in my body. And so with self-pleasure practices, that's what I did intentionally. A couple years ago, as the pandemic started, I was by myself and I was like, well, I guess I'll do this. And so I didn't let myself fantasize about anything, which so many times too, that can take our minds away because we can be like, what's going to get me off? What can I go to that I'm going to like? And instead, this brings us back, this brings us back to just our body and just the sensation that we are feeling. So you don't even have to limit yourself to just touching your genitals. You can touch the rest of your body too. And then when you're with someone, you're already building that practice of just getting out of your head completely, not even thinking about sex stuff, but just into what you're feeling, just into your sensations, just into your body. And that practice can really serve you as you move forward in sex. And obviously, getting out of your head in our daily life, in our regular life, getting more present, getting more connected, getting more into how I'm feeling in this moment, because that can pay off with our intuition. It can pay off in noticing when maybe a red flag goes up in our stomach somewhere. Rather than pushing it down, we are more in touch with our ability to tune in to whatever's going on. So if you have any questions about that, I would love to hear your questions. Just write to me, amy@amyedwards.com. Love to hear your questions, or put it in the comments and I will read those and definitely get to them because I would love to talk more about this and hope some of that resonated with you. Thank you so much for being here today. I am just constantly sitting here reconnects me to how much I love doing this. And I love reaching people and connecting and sharing my voice and in hopes that it gives you more permission to share your voice in whatever way you want to do it. Because your story is important. What you have to say is important. Your perspective is important. I absolutely 100% believe that. Our affirmation for today is, I recognize contrast and realign to my true desires and inner knowing. You can form that however you want, right? I recognize contrast, right? That's just staying aware of it, and realign to my true desires and inner knowing. I like that. Because then we're just acknowledging it, acknowledging the shit, acknowledging the contrast, we'll call it. And that's just a fancy word for shit we don't want. So I recognize contrast and realign to my true desires and inner knowing. Yes. Because we can always come back to it. We can always be like, oh yeah, I don't need to get too wrapped up in that. That's just, again, life showing me all the ingredients in the kitchen. And yeah, I'm not going to choose those to put in my pie. I'm going to choose these true desires and inner knowing ones. Yeah, I'm going to choose these intuition ones and the things that really feel good to me, taste good to me, all those. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you to Alyssa. Thank you to our team at Hot Pie. And thank you to you, most of all. Thank you to me, right? Have you thanked yourself today? Why not? Fucking do it. Thank yourself. Tell yourself you're kicking ass. Tell yourself you are rocking it, because you are. I know it. So go ahead and thank yourself. Give yourself a little hug, whatever you need. Maybe you don't even know you need it. And here's a hug from me to you as well. I'm so grateful. And if you can support the show by giving us a review, I would be very grateful for that as well. Also sign up for my newsletter, of course, amyedwards.com, or on any of my Linktree stuff on my Instagram or on my TikTok, which is The Magic Babe. My Instagram is Real Amy Edwards, and I look forward to connecting with you and continuing to build this awesome community that we are a part of, transforming our lives, transforming our world to be the absolute best it can be, and recognize a contrast when it arrives. So, till next time. Comment and tell me your thoughts. And please subscribe to the channel for all things to uplevel your life and increase your shine efficiently and through better habits, mindset shifts, and embracing your own power.